𝒂𝒂𝒃𝒃, and 𝒂𝒂𝒃 will be our host, and we will train 𝒂𝒂𝒃 and Kerewan area councils. And then the last phase of the capacity building training will be in Basse, where Janjambre, Kuntau, and Basse will also be invited. So the project is across the entire country for all the local government councils, and it is for the officials of local government councils as well as the elected politicians who are the councillors as well as the VDCs represented by these councils. Because we believe these capacity building and training will help in bridging some of the gaps that we have discovered in terms of management, in terms of service delivery, in terms of communication between local government councils and the citizenry. After all, because we are here to deliver services to the citizenry, and we must put in efforts to improve service delivery to the people we serve. And this is the essence of this training. The essence is to ensure efficiency and effectiveness in service delivery to the people we serve, to the people local government councils serve. So in short, this is the whole objective of the capacity building and training. And may I take this opportunity to thank our donor. This is funded, fully funded by NED. NED stands for National Endowment for Democracy, which is based in the United States, has funded this project, both the research and the capacity building. And let me also emphasize that Center for Policy Research and Strategic Studies, which is Ceprass, is non-political institution. We don't affiliate with any political party, neither the central government. We are here as development partners. Of course, we have support from various stakeholders and all these councils. I mean, moral support when it comes to this project, right? But we don't have any financial support from any local government council across the country, neither from the central government. So we are non-political. We are not politically affiliated with any political party, neither the central government, nor any other institution. First, we have our partners in NGOs, international organizations within the country and outside the country. So to make it very much clear that Ceprass is a non-political institution, non-partisan, and we are here for everybody. Any political party can decide to partner with Ceprass. That's acceptable. Any local government council can decide to partner with Ceprass. Any local government council or even central government can decide to contract Ceprass to conduct research or to conduct training and capacity building. So this I want to clarify for you that we are non-political, right? So let me not take too much time. Looking at this timetable, it appears that our executive director has lumped the trainings together. If you look at leadership and management, it's its own presentation. It can take a minimum of 1.5 hours. You look at strategic planning, it's another entire presentation that can take another 1.5 hours. You look at communication. So I will be presenting one after the other. And then you look at team building and service delivery. Of course, those are together. So it's like we have 4 different models to be presented in this training for you, for my part, inshallah. So we will see how to maneuver with the time, because the time allocated to me actually with these several models, it will be rather impossible to deliver it before 2 o'clock. So that means we may go up to 3:30 or 4. But then subsequently, that is tomorrow and Friday, if you come early, you may close at 2 o'clock. But for today, I'm sure it may take us up to 3:30 or 4. So I beg your indulgence, and I apologize to you for extending the time. But I think it worth it anyway. I know you are busy politicians and busy officials of the various, representing the various councils, of the 3 councils represented here, but then indulge your patience for us to have some space, some time. It's just 3 days, today, tomorrow, and Friday. Then we are done with you people. Then we move to the next. Thank you very much. If there are any questions before I start, you can. But what I intend to do is I will be presenting probably at the end of the presentation. If you have questions to ask, then I will allow you to ask, because for the purpose of time, we may not have deep interactions or extensive deliberations on the subject matter relevant to this, that is relevant to local governance. Thank you. Yes?
With the mobilization of personnel to committee, I think moving forward, when you're going to moving forward, I think government has a role in order to also communicate these things down and help you.
All right. Mr. Executive Director, Center for Policy Research and Strategic Studies, take notes about the organization and the people to be invited, the councillors, the CEOs of the various councils and their representatives, directors of administration, etc., moving forward to ensure that everyone is brought on board, informed ahead of time, and because you can see the Deputy Lord Mayoress said she was just promptly been informed. So things like that, inshallah, is good to bring it up.
Maybe I can make clarification. The letters were sent in plenty of time. In fact, we sent 2 weeks before this training. And we make regular follow-ups. For example, in Brikama, I personally visited the office. I met the CEO and the chairman on the invitation. Ganga were part of the team. In fact, they shared the relevant emails with us. We worked with them very closely in this project. In fact, I was made to understand the president of Gaza is in town to attend this opening. Yeah. The program officer was also invited to come and told them that they should choose security to attend this session of exchange.
No, it's not.
So, and the rest of the council, I have been in touch with them through call, and our communication has also called them. So, KMC, we are directly, because the mayor directs us to the clerk. So we've been communicating with the clerk, within the mayor and every other thing. So there was adequate information that was needed for this program 2 weeks before today. So in fact, KMC rescheduled. The earlier was supposed to start on Thursday. They will have an hour session Saturday, so we'll have to bring it back and communicate again back to the respective councils. Unfortunately, this is what has happened, but we did communicate.
Thank you, Executive Director Ceprass, for those clarifications. There is room for improvement on our own part at Ceprass on the organization, mobilization of training participants from the various councils, and inshallah moving to 𝒂𝒂𝒃 and Caravan, and then to Basse, we'll see improvement in that, because it is important, because you are the stakeholders and this training is meant for you people. Your representation here, your presence here is crucial to the success of this project. Very important. And so if you are not here, it is not possible to conduct this training. So that's quite important for, it's a good concern that you have raised so that we can improve on our part and the part of all the local government councils to ensure that there is timely dissemination of information, and the people in charge of spreading this information to their representatives do show in time, so that the attendance will be 100%, because we expect at least 8 representatives from each local council. Thank you, gentlemen, for raising those concerns. We are here to continuously improve, and that is the essence of what you call total quality management. So, without wasting time, I think we move. Shall we move? Right. Okay. Thank you very much. So, I guess I've already introduced myself, right? Okay. Sorry about that. My name is Bana Sawane. I lecture at the University of the Gambia full-time, and I'm a researcher and consultant at Center for Policy Research and Strategic Studies. I'm here to present on the leadership. First will be leadership and management, and then the next presentation will be on strategic planning, followed by communication. Then after break, the next will be team building and service delivery. Team building, conflict resolutions, and service delivery, inshallah. So, this is about leadership, because to ensure effective and efficient governance of local councils in the country, we need quality leadership and management. We need control. We need to assure our citizenry quality delivery of services. We are collecting so much, even if it is a token amount of money we are collecting from the citizens, we need to give back to them. And how do we ensure that what we are taking from them is given back to them in terms of service delivery? And we have seen a series of projects embarked on by various local councils across the country. In terms of the Marriage project, in the case of KMC, and I commend KMC for that. As well as by the City Council, also similar projects on rubbish collection, and Brikama Area Council of recent on their projects. And of recent, the roads project being signed to construct certain roads within the KMC. All these are services you are rendering back to the society. And this is what we expect from all other councils, similar councils across the country, service delivery to the citizens. And that requires astute leadership and management, as well as control. Because it is the leadership of these institutions that will strategically think about all these projects to deliver them to the citizens. Right? I'm sorry, but I will not be reading from word for word. I'll be explaining because we have a lot to cover. Right? So, when you are a leader, you are there to influence your people, your followers. So you need certain qualities and characteristics to be a good leader. So it is a process of persuasion. You don't just force people. That should be the last resort, using force. The last resort in leadership. Okay? Because at some point, if we are charismatic, then extraordinarily, your followers will be influenced during your leadership process. So coercion and force are the last resort to use on your followers, on your employees. So effective leadership is a top priority to effectively contribute to the is development of local government councils, which can maximize results by delivering quality services and programs to their beneficiaries. And this is why we are here. And this is why we are called local councils, bringing services to the doorsteps of the citizenry. And this is what is expected of you. And not just services of any sort or any kind, but quality services to be brought to citizens. Because we want to give it back. We want to plow back what you are taking from them to them. So effective leaders recognize that what they know is very little in comparison to what they still need to learn. An effective leader is ready to learn on the job. Nobody knows it all. We are all learners. We all learn every day. Up till the day we are taken to our graves, we are learning. We don't know everything, and no one knows it all. It's only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who is omniscient, who knows everything. So as far we are called human beings, we know little. Even the degrees we buy, we still know very little. وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِّنْ عِلْمٍ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. I have not given you of the knowledge except very little. So if that is the case, human being is a learner at every stage of his or her life. We don't know it all. So a leader must be open-minded, receptive to new ideas, new innovations, new creativities, inventions, etc. Encourage staff who are very initiative, who are very innovative. Because your leadership cannot succeed without your followers buying in, supporting you. This is the essence. So, effective managers in local government administrations should try to build effective organizations by leading through creating a healthy community where all hands work together as one. This is to say that we are partners in development. So the councillors must not just see themselves as politicians, or the chairmen and women, chair ladies, or lord mayors and lord mayors should not see themselves as only politicians, but see themselves as partners in development. Yes, the politics is there, but they are in actual fact partners in development. We are and they are complementing the development efforts of the central government. That's the essence. And that's why you are called local councils, because you are bringing development to the doorsteps of the local people, the local dwellers. That's the essence. Yes, when it's time for politics, we do our politicking. But when it's time for development, we focus on development. Then, the distinction between managers and leaders. Managers are appointed to their position, and leaders are appointed, though sometimes they emerge from within a weak group.
I want to make a comment before I go.
All right.
Yeah, for those of you coming for tomorrow's session, we're going to have proposal planning and writing tomorrow, first thing in the morning. So it's ideal that you brainstorm on a project that, for example, you want to write something about overnight, right? So that when you come, we'll be able to take practical examples on how to do, for example, problem statements on that project, and how to go through all the steps that you need to. You can break away in terms of groups and brainstorm on that. That way it's going to be more effective, right? Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chabate. Yes. So managers can influence people only to the extent of the formal authority of their position, while leaders can influence other people and have managerial authority. That's why we have some charismatic leaders. inspirational leaders. So managers do not necessarily have the skills and capabilities to be leaders. So that means not all leaders are managers, okay? And not all managers are leaders as well. So leaders do not necessarily have the skills and capabilities to be managers. You can be a leader, but for instance, you cannot be a leader in all the departments. In fact, you may not have the required skills to be the IT director or to be the director of finance, yet still you are the leader. And that's why not all leaders are managers, right? Or you are the leader, but you can't be the director of marketing, for instance, or director of research, because you don't have the skills of those disciplines or areas, for instance. So leadership is remarkably distinct from managers or managership. Then these are some of the theories, quickly taking you through. You have the trait theory, behavior theory, competence theory of leadership, and contingency theory. And for the trait theory, the early research on leadership focused on the notion that individuals who occupy leadership positions possess some sort of superior qualities or attributes. Excuse me. Some will say they are traits. Traits are qualities, characteristics, for instance. So let research on leadership process identified. I don't want to bore you and giving you an assignment to say list the traits of a good leader, but then I'll be giving you some of these. These are some of the researchers who conducted research on the trait theory around the 1974 about the complex groupings of the different characteristics and qualities of a leader that they expect a leader to have, right? And it is said that leaders tend to be endowed with the supply of physical characteristics such as stamina or charisma, and socioeconomic factors are certain variables that the leader should also exhibit. You should be willing to promote the socioeconomic development of your community, of your institution, of your country. Intelligence and fluency in speech were found to be positively related to leadership. So a leader should be able to communicate with his or her followers. A leader should be task-oriented. A leader should have social attributes, should be diplomatic, right? And a host of traits that successful leaders appear to possess. All of these must be exhibited, and you are all capable leaders, potential leaders in this country tomorrow. Then we have the behavior theories, which entails the autocratic style as well as the democratic style, and then the laissez-faire. You know, in the laissez-faire, these are leaders who care less about what their employees do. In fact, they either fear or are ashamed of reprimanding employees who are not delivering up to expectations. And some leaders are democratic. They ensure that their staff are highly involved. They participate in the issues of governance. Others are autocratic, where they just dictate and impose on their employees. They hardly allow their employees to have a say in the governance of local councils or their institutions. And these are some of the research outcomes of Ohio State Studies, Ohio State University in the United States, that initiating structure is one of the two dimensions of a leader. And the research findings were mixed. Then high leaders generally, but not always, achieve high good task performance and satisfaction. These are leaders who focus on tasks to be performed, delivery of services. Then another research by University of Michigan in the United States identified two dimensions of a leader behavior. And the first part is employee orientation, emphasizing personal relationship. And this is one that's applicable in our own environment, in the Gambian environment, where people focus more on relationships than performance, where people focus more on religion and religious beliefs than performance, as opposed to where people are task or production oriented, where you have to perform or you go home, no matter the relations. Part of the employees. And this is why we are seeing a lot of inefficiencies in several areas in our service delivery in general in a country like the Gambia. It depends on the presence or absence of the factors. That means for a leader to apply this theory, your leadership is contingent on certain issues. Where the situation within a particular environment like the Gambia, we have a peculiar environment. And therefore, a leader's leadership is hinged upon certain factors. And I have just mentioned some of the factors: our relationships, our faiths, be a Muslim or a Christian, right? And other socio-cultural factors or traditions as well, right? So, to try specify factors, contingency variables that help to determine appropriate leader behavior, where government action and policies, competitive strategies, work and organizational design changes. These are important factors that can determine our leadership effectiveness, because they are important contingency factors, right? So what you will take home as far as this contingency theory is concerned is: one, task-oriented aspect of leadership, and two, the relationship-oriented aspect of leadership. I have just talked about it. And these are issues that we continue to confront in our local councils every day. Whether the leader in these councils must be task-oriented or must be relations-oriented. Yes. Because for me, if your brother is found wanting or has embezzled millions of dollars, and you are the CEO, or you are the chairperson or Lord Mayor, what do you do? What do you do? Best practice. What do you do? I'm asking you now.
Due process.
Due process. Like? Due process to do what?
Due process means to start with you as Once you recover fraud, you are not a fraud architect.
Yes.
You as a CEO, right? You immediate.
Okay.
Yeah, and then escalate.
Yeah. So in that, let us try to be practical here a little bit. For instance, a relative of yours is found wanting and indicted in a corruption case, for instance, in one of the local councils, and you are the Lord Mayor or the the lady mayoress, for instance, what do you do in this case when we want to follow due process?
The local service commission, being the employer, should do the needful.
Okay.
Yes, what you do is escalate that fraud is uncovered, and all the report has been concluded. Exactly. And then you are not the one to say you are not coming to work. It's not your job.
You are not going to work.
Yes, thank you.
Right. So, local government service commission can establish a panel, investigative panel, to look into the allegations. They are allegations until proven guilty. And due process must be followed to uncover where the allegations were right or wrong. Until then, the person is innocent. Right? Good. Gentlemen, thank you. So, these are some of the examples. So, task structure refers to the rules, regulations, and procedures in place for getting the work done. Focus is on performance. Then position power is the leader's legitimate authority to evaluate and reward performance, punish errors, and demote group members. Then leader-member relations is an indication of the state of the leader's relationship with the followers. So, let's go to the next level, which is a subset of the contingency theory, which is path goal theory, right? Which proposes that the main task of the leader is to smooth the followers' path to the goal using the appropriate leadership behavior style, right? To help followers clarify their paths to both work and personal goals. The theory draws on expectancy theory of motivation. So one of the roles of a leader is to motivate the staff, because after all, the staff expect something at the end of the day. Yes, we must put national interests forward first, and then personal interests. But the moment personal interest overrides national interest, then there comes conflict of interest. And that each one of us, you and I, we are all public servants, because we are working in the public sector. National interest must be put first, then followed by individual interest. And that's why there are conditions of service, conditions of employment in our various institutions. You follow what those conditions of service say. If you don't want to follow, what happens? You must resign and go to another institution or be on your own. But even if you go on your own, you must still follow some policies, especially the main laws of the land, right? Even if you are on your own, you must still follow some policies. So no one is totally independent. We are governed by the law. We are governed by the subsets of policies that these local government councils have. Good. So this is some pictorial representation of the contingency theory, the path goal component of it, where leadership behavior styles include a leader being very directive, supportive. Some leaders or leaders must be supportive. Then achievement orientated, as well as participatory, being a participatory Democrat, for instance. And then we have the followers. What do they have? Which characteristics they must possess? ability level, authoritarianism, and the locus of control. They must control themselves because there are policies to follow. Otherwise, you will be consumed by these policies. And the end result of that is punishment for non-compliance. Then the follow-up path that leads to the follow-up path perceptions, which is you put in efforts, then that leads us to performance. And when you perform, then you are rewarded. And the workplace characteristics entail the task structure, work group, authority system. We'll talk about team building, where we have different types of work groups and how to resolve conflicts when you work together as teams, when either your Lord Mayor assigns you work to do, or Mayoress, or your CEO assigns you to do work, or your Director of Administration or Director of Finance assigns you, okay, puts up accounts clerk or accounting officers together and tasks them to complete a particular assignment. What do you do as a team member, a team player? Then follow our goals. All of these will lead us to either job satisfaction or rewards or some sorts of benefits. So when you do what you are expected to do as employees, what do you have? Can you tell me? Let's try to be a little bit practical here. Each one of us are employees here in different local councils. Whether you are a councillor, or you are director of administration, or director of finance, or CEO, or VDC rep, right? If you do what it takes to do in a particular job, what is the end result?
Recognition.
Huh?
Recognition.
Recognition. Okay. It's part of it. Yes?
You feel proud.
You feel proud. Okay, of yourself. Okay. And that is, you have job satisfaction, right? Okay. How about the institution?
Right. You kind of have contributed immensely towards meeting its aims and objectives.
Okay. Great. And that will ensure the continuous existence of the institution. Because if no work is delivered, is done, no one performs, what happens? The institution is dead. Right, just off. But after all, there is one thing that happens. It's not just the job satisfaction you have. What else? Gentlemen, let me hear from this side also. If you are talking, please tell me your name and your position in your council, please, so that we get to know one another during this. Yes, let me start with a lady. Your name, please? Binding City Council.
Assistant Planning Officer.
Great. Jallo Jerry. So, let me hear from you, 𝒘𝒘𝒘𝒏𝒏𝒆𝒍.
You will be recommended.
You'll be recommended for what?
For the job well done.
For a job well done. Okay, they will commend you for a job well done. You, as a person, what are you going to have gain from that? Is that enough to maintain you as an
maybe the institution will recommend you for the work you done for them, and maybe they will be assigned you to do something. Anytime the such work comes, you will be assigned to do so because you have been doing job.
But above all of that, there must be one thing that is missing that I want to hear.
Motivation. What about motivation?
Motivation. Okay, let me hear from her. Your name, please?
That will improve service delivery.
Okay, that will improve service delivery. Yes.
And motivation.
But what would it take from you as an employee that is sustaining you in that local council or in that organization?
That shows your efficiency.
Your efficiency?
Yes.
Okay. Are you going empty-handed?
No.
It's not hard for anyone of you.
You know, the reward is already there. That is end of month you are paid, isn't
This
it?
is what I want to hear from you.
Yes. The reward is already there.
I hope you are not a flat. Extra food.
No, I'm not a fuller. I'm the fuller's mother.
Okay. Right. Good. So, ability and there must be willingness on the part of the followers about a particular leadership that is contingent on certain factors. Because if you and your followers don't have the ability to possess certain skills, certain experiences, you don't have the knowledge needed to perform the task, okay? So it becomes difficult for the leader to succeed, and in that case, the leader must intervene. Willingness, the followers' commitment, confidence, and self-motivation to perform. We have just said it here. That's crucial for the success of any institution. So you have these two situational styles of leadership, that is telling, selling style, participating style, delegating style. Yes, we all tell what we want to tell our employees. The concerns and issues, right, in terms of behaviors you want to discuss with your employees, where you are seeing gaps in these areas. Then you want to sell both the task and relationship-oriented leadership style that you may come up with to your employees. Then you allow your employees to participate, right? Because you harbor relationships, and then you have certain low concerns with tasks, then you allow them to participate. Then delegating style, as well as that depicts low concern with the task and relationships, because the followers accept responsibility. Now let's go to controlling. Let me get your understanding on controlling. Yes. Let me hear from you what controlling is about. What is controlling? Controlling, especially management controlling.
As per the QR, the QR set out what the locus of control will be as per.
Okay. Okay, taking care of. Yes. Monitoring is part of controlling.
Making sure everything goes out of the limited area of this project line, for example.
Okay. Mechanisms. To do what? Just mechanisms? Okay. Good. Controlling, the act of monitoring activities to ensure that they are being accomplished. That means they are achieved as planned, and of correcting any significant deviations, so that you ensure that employees are following the right channels, or like someone said here, mechanisms to do their job. And the purpose is to ensure that activities are completed in ways that lead to accomplishment of organizational goals. Right? So designing control systems, you have the management control, you have the bureaucratic control, and then you have the clan control. The management control emphasizes the use of internal management mechanisms, right? Like internal measures of performance, how you track, how you evaluate, and quality service delivery. Some institutions will have what you call Directorate of Quality Assurance or Department of Quality Assurance to ensure that the employees who are delivering services to the community, that is, those beneficiaries of local councils, are up to standard. I know we are a developing nation and we are coming up gradually to ensure that service delivery is of quality to the citizens. There are rooms for improvement. Then we have the bureaucratic control, which emphasizes organizational authority and relies on rules, regulations, procedures, and policies. To this effect, local government councils, they have established rules. For instance, the Local Government Act as amended 2002, right? Then we have the Audit Act of the Local Government Councils, right? We have that. And then we have the decentralization policy. You have all those policy instruments, don't you have? Yes, you have. You have all these. You have the Act, which was legislated by the National Assembly, the Local Government Act 2002, and then you have the decentralization policy, and then you have the main constitution, which is the father of all these documents. Okay, and then you have the Audit Act of the Local Government Audit Act, right? You can correct me if I'm wrong. All of these are controlling documents for local councils across the country. And these are documents that all of you, whether you are a councillor or a chairperson, chairman, Lord Mayor, Lady Mayoress, you should read and avail yourselves with all these documents to see how local councils are governed. I know you have your shortcomings, you are limited, where certain sections and subsections in the Constitution and the Local Government Act, you are still not able to implement them as a result of not relinquishing that power to you at the local council level by the central government. We are aware, because we have engaged stakeholders since this project started in 2002. We are aware of all those shortcomings. We have had extensive deliberations and discussions with the stakeholders in local government councils across the country. Clan control regulates behavior by shared values, norms, traditions, rituals, and beliefs of the firm's culture. Here at the KMC, you have your norms and values, you have your work ethics. At the Banjul City Council, they have their norms and values, work ethics, principles, rules and regulations as well. Brikama Area Council as well. So you all have somewhat organizational culture, traditions and norms, different from another. Although you have similarities here and there, when you go further in the country, hinterland, right, you can see some disparities in the way local councils are also governed. The constraints they have, they encounter similar problems like you, but you are ahead of them in very many areas, and that was shown in our research. Then planning, as a leader, planning is crucial. The axiom says, failure to plan is planning to fail. And I guess you have some planners from the various councils here. Which council does not have a directorate of planning among you here? Among the three councils, Banjul City Council, Kanifing Municipal Council, and Brikama Area Council. Do you all have directorate of planning? Because planning is crucial in your job. I will talk about strategic planning. Actually, my specialization is on strategic planning. Huh?
You have to differentiate the planning.
Yes.
For example, you have financial planning and physical planning.
Yes.
And then town city planning, like infrastructure and physical planning.
Right.
Focusing on. But when it comes to strategic planning, and then like financial planning, we are yet to
okay.
People in the Ministry of Finance, they have those kind of needs and departments. It's quite different from the country. When it comes to our banks, needs and departments.
Okay.
I don't know whether
Yes. And That's quite important. You see, strategic planning should be the forefront. Strategic planning should be in the forefront. Yes, we have our Department of Physical Planning headquartered in Banjul that is expected to help the local councils in their city planning. But then strategic planning is peculiar to each organization. And it's important that you have established a directorate of planning, right, that will do strategic thinking for your various councils across the country. Right. Because without any proper strategic planning, even the finances we are talking about will no more be there. So strategic planning is something, if you don't have, you need to think of. And I'm sure by now you all have a valid strategic plan. You all have a valid strategic plan. I mean, all the three councils represented here. Yeah? Which council doesn't have a valid strategic plan? Up-to-date strategic plan. This is crucial. And the planning must be in line with your strategic plan. And it's like when an organization is being administered without any strategic plan, it's like a vehicle without a driver. A vehicle without a driver. An organization without a strategic plan is like a vehicle without a driver. So all of you need a directorate of strategic planning or planning. Not just on physical planning, that is on the architecture or the design or the locations of properties and houses. Not only that, I mean a directorate of planning that will do strategic planning for the organization. How to position itself strategically. You need it. Right.
I don't believe councils have.
Yes. So they can do this and embed strategic planning in the already existing directorates of planning in these councils. Add a component of strategic planning to the directorate of planning that you already have, so that you don't only concentrate on financial planning as well as physical planning, but on strategic planning as well, because this is so crucial. Yes, madam. What's your name again? Anna? Adama Bojan Sankaranga. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. All councils have Directorate of Planning and Development. Okay, wonderful. Mm-hmm. Okay.
They have their priorities set, right? What do they want as a community? We do. And then when it comes to council level, we partner with key stakeholders, and each council was able to have a strategic development plan.
Okay.
From this particular period to another period, like council become from 2020 to 2024.
Right.
To me, all councils have all the strategic plan. When you talk about in terms of finances, when Sheriff was taken, what the reform is calling for is to have our budget officers, and that budget officers must have some planning techniques alongside with the financial aspect of it, so that budgets are tracked according to activities and are implemented according to time. This is what I understand. But when you visit councils, we all have what is called planning and development.
Planning and development.
And then if you look around the local government fraternity, we also work with the Department of Community. It's because by design, they are supposed to help us do our planning activities from the community level, ward level, up to the regional level. So this is actually what is happening.
This is what is happening.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much, Madam Bojan. It shows that there is some level of planning at your level. Still, there is room for improvement. There's room for improvement. So I'll be moving a little bit fast. I want to engage you practically on this model. It seems time is not on our side. I'll be later giving you these presentations to read and familiarize with certain concepts because some of you are senior officials here, directors and managers and senior managers. So it's important that you read some of these presentations because you are on your path to being a leader. In fact, at some point, you are already practicing leadership in your various portfolios. So it's important to help improve on that. Okay? So you empower your employees, then protect the workplace. All of these are important aspects of the control process. And when we talk about the control process, you measure actual performance of employees or the performance of the institution. Then you compare your actual performance against the standard sets, and now you take what you call corrective actions. If there are deviations, you want to make adjustments and the like, right? So this is how and what you measure in terms of the monitoring of issues, the monitoring of activities in your institutions. Then you compare your performance with the actual performance objective set, and then ensuring that there are no deviations from what you have established from the beginning. And this is actually the problem. And sometimes we are overwhelmed with so many activities to the extent that we forget to track our performance in line with what we have already established from the beginning. And this is a challenge. So the course of action, and that is doing nothing, only if deviation is judged to be insignificant, meaning during the course of delivering your work activities, if there are no significant deviations, no significant movement away from the right track, then you don't need to change anything. But then where corrections are required, then immediate corrective action should be undertaken to correct the problem. And these corrective actions include change in strategy or structure, compensation scheme or training programs, redesign jobs, or free fire employees, for instance. Yes. Any question to that effect? Good. So let me quickly try to finish this up. We have the performance. I've already talked about organizational performance. Performance is concerned with results, task-oriented, right? You must deliver. And your role is very critical as far as the communities are concerned. That's why they call you local councils, local government councils. You are there to deliver services to the community dwellers, deliver services to the citizens at their doorsteps, at the grassroots. That's why you are representing the government. That's they call you local government councils. Because the central government is far from the community dwellers. To bring development closer to community dwellers, local government councils were established with some degree of autonomy. And that's why you have the Local Government Act 2002 with some other decentralization policies with a view to bringing or taking services closer to the grassroots, closer to the community people. And this is why the VDCs are involved, are engaged by various councils and the different ward councillors representing them, so that they can have a say in the governance of your councils. They need to have a say because we are here for them. Productivity is the overall output of goods and or services divided by the inputs needed to generate that output. So when we know why we are here as a council, then we work very hard to get our beneficiaries satisfied. And the citizenry at the community levels, at the grassroots, are our beneficiaries. Whatever we are doing, they need to be represented. And those representing them in terms of the ward councillors, and then filtering from the ward councillors to the VDCs, and then the VDCs filtering to the villagers or the town dwellers whatsoever about your processes, your structures, and all other issues to them. What we are doing so far. Right? Good. So organizational performance measures include systems, resources, model, which entails the ability of the organization to exploit its environment in acquiring scarce and valued resources, the process model of the efficiency of organization's transformation process, in converting inputs to outputs, and multiple constituencies model, where the effectiveness of the organization meeting each constituency's needs. Here, we know that we are represented by our National Assembly members at the National Assembly. We at the constituency levels, we are represented by National Assembly members. And they are supposed to take our needs there and formulate policies and programs based on the needs of the constituency members. Then we have communities in these constituencies, right? Whose expectations need to be met. For instance, a National Assembly member representing a particular constituency can say, okay, hey, let's empower the local government councils in this particular area because this is a gap. Because this is a gap. And then the assembly picks that up, they will pass a law empowering local councils. And once they are empowered, the local councils can also empower their ward councillors. Ward councillors would empower VDCs, and VDCs would empower, and it will filter, it will filter down to the villages, the communities.
Or the suburbs.
Yes. This is how we can do things. Alright? But in the councillors, in the National Assembly members, instead of representing the needs of the constituency members, look at their own pockets and they become how would I say?
That's what happened now.
Yes. They need to represent the interests of the constituencies. Yes.
We could
Yes.
And each wards have councillors.
Yeah.
Assuming I was like this person,
Yes.
I think like they should at least have close contact with the ward councillors.
Yes.
To have easy access to access the people they are representing.
Right.
I believe so, yes.
Yes. So we have the contemporary issues in control, which includes workplace concerns, workplace privacy versus workplace monitoring. In terms of emails, I don't know what are your current policies in various councils in terms of your workplaces. In terms of emails, do you have official emails, all of you, from your various local councils? Yes. Official emails from the various local councils. You have official emails. You have official telephone numbers, like CUJ, given to you by your institution, but by various GSM companies, for which your institutions pay for it at the end of the month, to ease communication between you amongst yourselves, as well as between you and your constituencies, your VDCs, your ward councillors. So this is a gap in communication. We'll talk about communication. This is a gap. You cannot tell me that KMC cannot afford to give you official lines and pay for it at the end of the month among the ward councillors, as well as what else? Huh?
If they don't have an official line, they are giving telephone allowance.
They are giving telephone allowance every month. Okay. But how sufficient is the telephone allowance to communicate between the ward councillors and the VDCs on development issues, programs, and services? Huh? It's not across the board. So you see, that means some councillors do not have. Yes, this is what they are saying, that it's not across the board. Yes. Because you know, this is one gap we have discovered in the research. Gap in communication between the councils and the communities. In fact, how you are doing things at community level. Do you only engage TVs? How many villages have access to TVs or electricity? Or do you only engage journalists to report in newspapers? How many villages can read newspapers, for instance? Or do you only report your activities on social media? How many villages have access to smartphones? Or do you only report your activities through the radio? How many villages have a radio or access to radio? All these are media outlets facilitating communication between the councils and the villages to bridge that gap of communication between you and your beneficiaries. Again, giving CUGs or telephone lines to your ward councillors would definitely facilitate communication among ward councillors themselves on development issues affecting their wards, as well as not limited to only giving them official lines, but telephone allowance. Because if they are calling villages outside their CUJ, that means they will put credit there and call them. So it's not sufficient to just give them official line. In addition, you must give them telephone allowance. Mr. Director, right? Huh? Yes. Yes.
For us at KMC, we have telephone allowance.
You have telephone allowance. You don't have any CUJ. And you know, KMC is one of the richest councils in the country. And KMC cannot tell me that. And KMC cannot tell me that they cannot pay for giving you official line. Yes.
We all have our ward office at the ward level provided with free internet also.
Yes. Okay. Let me come in here. Having your free internet at the ward level, how many villages can read emails How many villages have access to emails? Can you tell me? How many villagers can read emails or even have email addresses and are constantly 24 hours, like you and I, monitoring your email messages? Maybe 1% or less than 1%, madam. That is not adequate to communicate with the villagers. Mr. Directors, giving your ward councillors free email is not sufficient to enable them communicate with their villagers, with their community people. You need to give them either even motorbikes or vehicles. You can afford it. Hey, Mr. Director. Mr. Director. What's your name again? 𝒒𝒊𝒏, Director of Admin, BCC. You cannot, Mr. Njai, you cannot tell me that you cannot afford to give a brand new motorbike to each councillor at your level. And KMC, you cannot tell me that you don't have money to give a brand new motorbike to each councillor. But even vehicle, you can do it. Go and see what councillors are like in Senegal. Not just far. Let me just quote Senegal.
Senegal, you present your project to central government.
You see, you are defending yourself. Tell me. Okay, allow him to defend. Allow director to defend himself. These are some of the things we really need to improve.
Exactly. But the resources are not there. The council resources they are not empowered financially. For example, the 25% subvention we should get from the government, we are not getting it.
I agree.
The car park fees we're supposed to get on government, we are not getting it on time.
I agree.
Also, our chunk of the council's revenue have been deviated to other institutions like GRA, GT board, name it. So now to maintain the services you are providing to the citizens, the residents are paying, cannot sustain the councils. That's the problem.
So you allow your ward councillors to work,
well,
you expect them to deliver to the community level?
To be impacted every
Let me ask you, Mr. Director,
yes.
What means of transportation have you provided to your ward councillors? How many ward councillors do you have right now?
Nine.
Yes. But you tell me, you cannot buy brand new motorbikes for each ward councillor who are representing each community in the community of Banjo City. It's doable, Mr. Director, Mr. Njai. It's doable. So these are some of the gaps that we found. The ward councillors are not expected to walk on their bare foot, right, or taking public transport to reach their community people, to engage them in terms of development issues. Honestly speaking, you can afford 9 brand new motorbikes given free of charge to your ward councillors. Honestly speaking, yes.
I think Banjul is not a very big city.
Yes.
It's a very small city. And even if we cannot afford motorbikes, I think we can buy bicycles for each councillor.
What bicycles?
No. We can start from there at least. We can start from there, but our councillors will trek from one constituency to another without having the means to transport themselves from a place to a particular place. But we can start from somewhere at least. If they are provided with transport allowance plus a bicycle, because Banjul is not a big city.
It's risky.
Yes, I know it is.
It's greater Banjul area. It's too risky. Even motorbike is too risky. But at least when we have motorbike.
I know, but Banjul, we don't have big highways like KMC. We only have 1 or 2 highways. The rest is just small streets that are intertwined. And I think we can start from there at least, rather than leaving our councillors trekking from one direction to another. Yes, so we can start from somewhere at least, buying them bicycles.
How many directors are present here in this hall representing the 3 councillors? Yes, let me see the hands up. Mr. Njai is there. Your name, please. From Brikama Area Council. You are also collecting millions of dollars. Who is the third director?
Okay.
From KMC.
He's not here.
What my sister says.
You are representing KMC.
What my sister says is very true. But you have told her that it's very dangerous for councillors to be riding bicycles within. And she insists that Banjul is a small town and there are no risks. But there are containers trucks that are threatening the country, the city every day.
Yes.
Even the smaller narrow streets, if you go there, you'll find container trucks. And it is very unsafe.
It's very unsafe.
Yeah.
To ride a bicycle. Very unsafe.
So at least we can stand with motorbikes.
Who is representing KMC here, the director? Huh? Okay, who is from who are from KMC here? Senior managers from KMC.
Doctor.
We have councillors.
Doctor.
How many councillors KMC has? 19 elected. 19 elected.
7 nominated.
7 nominated. That is 26.
Yeah.
So KMC, what you can buy motorbikes for your councillors.
Buy the bicycles.
KMC, you can buy brand new motorbikes for your councillors.
We will consider
those of you working in finance.
The finance director is not here.
The finance director is not here.
Yeah.
Please, you need to do a proposal, the councillors yourselves, to your KMC that you need transport. Wallahi, if you go to, for instance, countries like Nigeria or Ghana, and they say you are a ward councillor working at a municipal council or a city council, you know what it takes to be a ward councillor in those countries. You are already rich. At our level, see, we don't value our employees. We don't value our workers. You can do much. You can do much more than this. Yes, he's speaking. Yes, your name again? Bapulo, Anka Israel. Yes. Yes.
But the moment they knew we were world councillors,
yes.
The scenario that they were looking at us
changed.
Anytime they see us, they will be bowing, praising us.
Because you are high-ranking official, you are not ordinary citizens. No.
And the saddest thing is, we are on the same economic background. But most of them, they were not elected officials. And they were holding diplomatic or service passports. But for us, we were with ordinary passport. We had it very difficult to even pass the control checkups. Up to a level where we even lose some of our luggages. They are still in Morocco or Dubai. We are not given access to even VIP lodge. So they were mistreating us. So at least we should be at least looking at the benefits of councillors at this moment.
Yes. This is a sad news.
Yeah.
And you are politically empowered by the citizens. You are elected politicians. Even the nominated ones, the moment you are nominated, approved, you have power. Just like the ones who are elected. Now, we need to give them what they deserve. The directors present here, please, you need to look into the plight of your ward councillors. They are as important as you are in the various local councils. Yes, let me take from Madam.
Because when you started your
you did talk about policies, you talk about acts that governs council. Now, if you ask finance director to look at the plights of councillors, I think where the basic problem, where it starts, is with our acts and policies. And I was expecting that for you to talk about those gaps within these acts that has disempowered the councillors, but not actually talking about staff empowering councillors here. If the ability is within us, we would have done it. But then if you look at the acts and the policies, this is where everything lies. So if you want to compare us with Senegal, yes, it's good for comparison. You think big but act locally. If you look at our systems, they differ. For Senegal, they collect the revenue and then council present their annual budget, which will be funded by Senegal. So these are things that are different between the two countries. The other issue is you are talking about what the National Assembly members have. Yes, when changes happen, they work about what benefits them. But what about the other acts? Because we have series of institutional acts that are not even talking to each other, and that has impeded development in this country. If you go to tourism, tourism will say yes, they are empowered by their acts to collect, to do certain things. Go to local government, we are empowered by the local government act. Go to Jilma, they are empowered. Now, how are we going to merge these various acts so that we can achieve collective development? Because if you want to compare our local, our ward councillors to the National Assembly, those people, they have amended their laws, isn't it? Where it affects them. But do we? So if you ask the local the finance directors to look into their plights, the finance directors don't.
That one is internal.
Yes.
That one, when I say
yes.
finance director,
yes, we have our own internal arrangements. Yes. Like councillors, then I'm talking on behalf of VAC. Now they are entitled to loans, isn't it? You are entitled to a particular loan. But what I am calling for is a holistic and collective change that will take the country to another level. Because if you want individual councillors to act on their own ways, that make a little difference to me. So let's talk about policies, let's talk about acts that has affected the whole country. Because even at the central government, acts are not talking to each other, policies are not talking to each other. So where are we as a country? For me, I am looking at that holistic point of view. Because to me, I will not ask, if I am a ward councillor, I will not accept a motorbike to be bought for me. One, how do we empower our councils to have more revenue? And when more revenue is created, then we will have that collective responsibility of building our villages, our communities together, and then solving those issues that emerge from the people. Because at the end of the day, look at the National Assembly. Yes, they will talk about oversight funds onto various institutions. But are they being audited by the national audit? How many frequent travels are they doing? And yet still they provide oversight funds to institutions like councils. Are they being fair? Is the act being scrutinized? Yes, it is in the process. But these are things that we should talk about rather than, yes, it's good to compare, but systems differ. So this is where I want to come from. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for raising those concerns. You know, I told you from the beginning that you have your Local Government Act 2002, which governs local government councils in this country, and you have your decentralization policy as well, which is governing. We have had series of meetings with stakeholders, including the local government ministry. And that time I could remember Mr. 𝒂𝒏 meeting him in Banjul. He emphasized the capacity issues where, because when we talk to ward councillors, they will say we are underfunded. And again, the ministry will emphasize that you are not coming up with viable proposals that will exhaust the amount of money they're supposed to allocate to local councils, for instance. So you can see each side defending itself. When the ministry talks, you can see that they are talking about capacity issues. When you talk, you can see that the lack of power being given to them by the central government, empowering them to certain level, even though certain acts and subsections are mentioned in the Local Government Act, yet still you are not empowered to execute them. So there is not full decentralization as far as the act is concerned, because you are still limited in scope. So when we are talking about policies, and this is what we realized, and that is a fact. So what do? Then ward councillors, what you can do to improve your situation? You can engage the National Assembly members in your community, under your region, and say, okay, we need amendments in the existing policies and laws. What can you do for us? Can we come up with a bill and introduce to the National Assembly that will fully empower the local government councils across the country? You can do that. Let's with your National Assembly members in your constituencies within the regions that you under your purview as a council. You can do that. Or your mayors and your chairmen and chair ladies or lady mayors as well as CEOs can engage National Assembly members in those regions under your purview. And so we have issues with these acts. These are the sections and subsections that mentions X, Y, Z, but we are not empowered still to do it. What is the problem? Can you help us reintroduce this bill to the National Assembly and make amendments to the current act so that we are empowered? All of these are possibilities, and we have talked about this a series of times when we met stakeholders in the various councils. Yes, let me hear from you. Yes, what's your name? Huh? Brikama, Director of Finance. Okay.
So you see the issues here. The issues, it's not about empowerment, it's not about the willingness, it's not about capacity. You see, looking at even what is happening at the present moment in time, this commission of inquiry, for me, there's only one voice that I'm adding to the commissions. Let it be gate 1 of 20 gates. From these commissions of inquiry on local government, let them go to Gamcel, let them go to Gamtel, let them go everywhere. Because this is the first commission of inquiry looking at local councils. After 60 years of independence. And again, for me, what I tell my colleagues, I am 3 years old in councils. I'm a chartered accountant. But looking at the recruitment process, I just said this Yabade. Looking at all Gambia, you pick on councils to go and look at what they've been doing for the last 5 years. And it's a very good assignment, but I wish it's a continued process. Looking at the acts, you're talking about for us going into sections and approaching our National Assembly members and having some of the sections revisited and updated. You look at all the governing instruments. I have them listed on my laptop here. The Financial and Accounting Manual for Local Government Authorities was last updated 14 years ago. You have the Local Government Act is 21 years ago, last updated. You have the Local Government Finance and Audit Act, 19 years ago when it was last updated. You look at the Gambia Local Government Service Staff Rule, 20 years ago when it was last updated. You looked at the Rates Act, 31 years ago. You looked at the Trade License Act for Banjul, it was 4 years ago. You looked at the Financial Regulations, 7 years ago. You look at the Rent Tribunal Act, 13 years ago. This in itself is telling all of us as stewards of local government that we are sleeping at the wheel. Because all these acts are out of date. They have a lot of debts. They are not in tune with what we are doing. And looking at National Assembly members, even before they can solve our problems, they have problems that they can solve. I have a National Assembly member from Nyanija constituency. He's swallowing in poverty. They can't even pay him his gratuity. So these are problems, countrywide problems. Now they're just looking at, through the kaleidoscope, they're looking at councils. Wallahi, if this exercise is continued to the end, and I wish, let's not only burn the sugarcane fields, let's burn all the fields and look at indeed what has transpired 10 years to now in all institutions. Again, I think these commissions are here to stay. Because what we are seeing is good. Because what is going to happen with councils is when the recommendation is out, we're going to dismantle these councils and put them together again. Because people are in councils. Is the recruitment done rightly? Are qualified people in places manning them? And again, you look at the government now. You have a legislation, the Local Government Act, which is saying you should give councils 25% of their developmental budget. But you go and face those big people at Quadrangle. They'll tell you that you people are the softest people. So whatever government gaps in funding, we'll take from your money and fund government. Is it fair? Nobody is speaking up for councils because we are the soft touch. Because you can touch Birkama area council, only Mr. Kamara will speak, or you can touch Banjul area council, only Sirif Njai will talk. But if there were doyens, there were 2 doctors, 4 master degree holders, 2 chartered accountants, people are, you have your 3 finance managers, they are all part qualified. You think they'll pick on us? They are picking on us because they know that capacity is not there. We are the crybabies.
Look at our ministry.
So this is the reality. But the problem alone, wallahi, if they go today and look at what is happening, GT board for the last 10 years, they'll forget about the council.
Thank you. What is this?
I'm Kamara.
Kamara, thank you, Kamara. You see, this is why I was saying that a local councillors, the elected councillors, and even the nominated ones, you can liaise with your National Assembly members in regions under your purview. Introduce bills to update all these regulations. You can do it. Just engage your National Assembly members in the regions under your purview to help introduce, either update the existing acts that he has just mentioned here, because they are long overdue. They are even outdated. This is something that is possible. If the central government is not taking it upon themselves to update these policies, you can take it upon yourselves in consultation with your National Assembly members. That's why they are there, to help you introduce bills, to help regulate some of these issues, because they are long overdue. Yes, let me allow Jaja Cham.
Doctor.
Yes.
I just want to close. Doctor.
Yes.
Let me give you 2 side responses.
Yes, Kamara.
2 side responses.
Yes.
You see this ward councillors, nobody can help them. They have to, nobody can help them. They have to
Nobody can help them.
They have to help themselves.
Do you agree?
No, let me finish.
Okay.
They have to help themselves. I was in Banjul City Council for 2 years. All the scholarship budget, 1 person legislated. All the travels, 1 person. All the packings that councils enjoy, 1 person is something. Now I am at Birkama. Scholarship, every councillor is giving to make nominations. We pay 3 million for scholarship. All councils are happy. As presently, every week I am paying each of these councils 20,000 because they have what we say, word subscriptions. Every council is budgeted $500,000 to spend. So these councils are, he is more comfortable than me. He's there. As Director of Finance, my council is more comfortable than me because the councils have gone and made those solutions. And they've been participatory in the budget to say that we need A, B, C in the budget for councillors. So they are the people to even help me, not me helping them the other way around. Thank you very much.
So this is what I'm saying. Because you are elected politicians. You can do it. Yes. Let me go to Jaja. Yes, Jaja Cham. Yes, Director Wadim, tell us.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor, or the resource person. I want to thank my colleagues for their views. I think I share the similar view. When you look at the governance system in Gambia, you mentioned about the legislators or the MPs, the parliamentarians. For us, we are in the local governance business, and we have an idea how the local governance is happening. Like what Mr. Kamara has said, if you look at the regulatory framework, all the acts, they are not something that can be relied because they are updated. And secondly, a case for KMC, Country Municipality, for us, we see our policymakers more effective than the parliamentarians. There were times when, a case in point, a few years ago and up to now, you will see councils have legislative problems, challenges or gaps between the councils and the government. For example, KMC have about 7 constituencies or 7 MPs that are with us, plus 19 councillors. I think when they come together, there is nothing that they cannot do.
I agree with you.
But the thing is, you will see MPs having fat salaries, driving luxurious cars. I don't want to say flamboyant lifestyle, maybe if I want to borrow it from somebody else. But this is what is happening. They are not participating in the decentralization process, what they call, or devolution of powers. Everybody is aware. Even the regulatory framework, all as they may be, the constitution also is there. But it's talking about devolution of powers, giving autonomy to local councils. So the question is, they are not coming together. Can you imagine? They will always want to take council to FPAC or accountability kind of rigorously pushing the councils. But you will see none of them talk about the subventions, because they know the government calendar for budget preparation is different from the council's budget preparation. So the government will do their annual budget after the council will do, and they want to, that should make sure that they should give us 25%. So when there is done, they will tell you are late. The MPs are aware of this. Our oversight ministry is aware of this. The central government, everybody is aware. So the willingness not to support the country is there. But what is so amazing, you will see even the central audit that is auditing the council spend them. Councils, when they are importing or buying, they have to pay. For example, we are helping the communities to develop, for example, in our waste management process. We brought in vehicles. We have to pay government 30 million. A tax collector paying tax to another tax collector. And we are doing their our side. They are not doing their side. Look, but the problem is, how many times do MPs, because if Moses don't go to the mountain have to somewhere come to Moses. Because if we don't go to MPs, MPs also have certain rights within their jurisdiction to see the policies that they make or the laws they pass. It's a legacy and it's happening. None of them ever come to this council to witness our council meeting. And they have no rapport between them and their ward council where they reside. Yes. So they are working from absence. Why are you representing? They also are representing people.
Or working for themselves.
Correct. The councillor is working for the people. They are also working for the people. And the same community.
They need to synchronize their activity.
Exactly. And the councillors are far better because for us, our councillors, every ward, we have an office for them. The National Assembly, why it's getting faster, they have no office. So what they are good at is going to the media, social media, and trying to write criticism and all that. That's what they are good at. So how do we bridge this? It's a matter of willingness. Because if you can take the horse to the river, but you will not force it to drink.
So councillors themselves are here.
So way out for this. Okay. For us, let me land my point. Okay. Way out for it is that on all these governance issues and regulatory issues, is if you take government to court, that's where we will, power nobody gives, you grab it. Because if we take government to court about not payment of subvention, we will win. Yes. We will win. It's in the constitution, it's in our acts. So all the other, there are certain powers of council that are usurped or that are taken to other bodies, not talk about the traditional sources of revenue, that are all being hijacked by government. If we take them to court, we will win.
Thank you, Jaja Chan, Mr. Chan, thank you. What's your name? Representing which council?
Yeah, just one.
Just one?
Yeah.
Okay, one councillor, just one.
Just one, yeah.
KMC,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, KMC.
Right.
Yeah, I think for councillors, I will talk in councillor side. Also, council has an administrative administrative side of it. Because if you look, I think the council and the councillors, they have two powers. We have legislative powers and also executive powers. But I think, the Local Government Act is not fit for purpose, to be honest. That is the reality. Because the sections are contradicting each other. For example, Section 35 of the Local Government Act says the Establishment Committee have to recommend to each Local Government Service Commission for any appointments, recruitment, dismissal, or disciplinary. But the Local Government Service Commissions are making appointment without recommendation from council. So
it's like they're imposing stuff on you.
Yes. So, and if you look, you cannot say you will abide by these sections and leave these sections. These documents went through all the processes, because this document is approved by the National Assembly and it's became a law. But the National Assembly also have oversight functions. They have seen a lot of things. They never call, because they have, like I said, they have oversight functions. But they have never called a ministry or an agency which are created through Act of Parliament to question them. These abnormalities are happening without, so they seem to ignore things. And I believe as a representative, we are directly answerable to our people. We are not answerable to anybody. Thank you. But the most important thing, let's look at our governance structures of this country. The law, our laws, they don't respect us as a citizen. Because any law you are making, the law should impact the people that the law is put into. But most of the local government, and I think the funniest thing in the Local Government Act is the CEO of all the area councils, instead of maybe Chief Justice or maybe I can say even the High Court judge, a very respectable for that region, we are sworn by the CEO, the elected officers. It's never happened in any country. The CEO will sworn the elected officers. And I think after change of regime 2026, the then council, there are all the amendments that they want to take the amendments to the National Assembly so that they change those, because the laws are not fit for purpose. But up to date, and the presidents approved that, so now they have to take it to the local, to the National Assembly, up to date. And I think they are enjoying because of the current political climate of things, So, but the most important thing is, if I believe if the central government and the local governments have an issue, the people that suffer the most are the people.
All right.
So the most important thing is, I think this initiative is long overdue, to be honest. But I think it's not bad. But honestly, the local governments in this country, they are really suffering, to be honest.
Okay.
Both administrative side and also the policy making side.
All right. We need to quickly. I will give Madam Bojang 1 minute. Just 1 minute, Madam Bojang.
The fundamental issues of this country.
Yes.
Holistically, not only local government.
Yes.
It's about political maturity, the mindset, and the essence, the sense of nationalism. Do we have that sense of nationalism? One, before you compare us to, we compare each other to Senegal. Senegal with all the...
You're still on your comparison.
Yes. Senegal with all the political tensions, during politics, you see them
doing their political life. But when politics are over, it's about development. But for us, it's a continuous process. From politics to politics, we forget about development. Even the National Assembly that we are talking about, they should be talking to our local ward councillors.
Ward councillors talking to the National Assembly.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, we did as 𝒘𝒂𝒂 area council. Okay. From the other batch to the current batch. But ask the ward councillors whether they have even seen a National Assembly member coming to council. Never, because they are seeing each other as rivals within the constituency. Because some will think that ward councillors are potential candidates for National Assembly members. Now, coming back to council, our policy makers and the administrative side seeing each other, because we are also seeing each other as rivals. These are the fundamental issues that people should talk about, because it has to do with the mindset, it has to do with the capacity of the individual. Because two sides of a coin is the policy arm and the technical arm. But these are the realities. Because every development must anchor on good governance. Good governance must anchor on nationalism. And that nationalism, people must have the right capacity, the right attitudinal change. Because these are the fundamental issues. When we have these things set right, then all of us collectively will be talking about the Gambia, our homeland, the development of this country. But hence, as we are stagnant, even the politicians amongst themselves, the ward councillors, the National Assembly members, they have political rivalism between themselves. They are looking at their party leader. What does my party say? What does my party say? Are they talking about the Gambia? That's the whole issue. These are fundamental issues that every citizen must talk about it. The media has a role, but sometimes I wonder which type of media do we have? People are after looking at negative issues of institutions, individuals of governance, but hardly you see a media fraternity going deep into the governance, into the deep issues of the country. Why are we not developing since 1965 up to date, when other countries are fast moving? These are things that we should question ourselves, not looking at what UDP say, NPP, APRC, other party line. Or we look at the relationship between ward councillors and our MPs. The councillors are here. Are they talking to each other? Are they speaking to each other? When they give them ward consequences allowance, I am expecting them to work with ward councillors, because they are representing the people in terms of development. Their role is oversight. But are we doing that? These are some of the fundamental issues. Sometimes when people call me to workshops or training or meeting, I feel very reluctant. Because this is why I was a little bit, when you start comparing, yes, it's good to compare. You need to think global, but we act local. We have local issues that we need to trace out so that we can reach. Look at what is happening to the Sustainable Development Goals. NDP is anchored on the Sustainable Development. Our strategic plans are anchored on the National Development Plan. But are development coordinated? We are not seeing. Gambia, we need to move fast and on the right track and the right direction. But we need the mindset. And you are a development project, research policy. What are you doing about that?
Thank you. Thank you. You should not. Thank you very much for those wonderful contributions. You should not see one another as rivals, but partners in development. Why we need to compare ourselves with countries in the sub-region, not Europe, not America. If our politicians are genuine, we can catch up with Senegal, we can catch up with countries in the sub-region. But if you feel you are rivals, ward councillors and National Assembly members, you are not talking to one another, how can we move forward to the level of Senegal or the level of other countries in the sub-region? How is it possible? So it's important that we compare ourselves with countries in the sub-region that are doing well, so that we also catch up. We come up. This is the way forward. But if you are not talking to one another and you are representing the same constituencies, the same regions, how can we move on? How can we move forward? We'll continue to be stagnant. Do you expect, in the first place, it's annoying to see a ward councillor walking in the streets, struggling to catch a bus or a public transport? It's annoying. After all, you are working in the interest of the society. So those National Assembly members who are supposed to work in collaboration, in consultation with you, the ward councillors, in the interest of national development, seeing you as rivals or potential candidates to be National Assembly members in the future? Is it not madness? Yes. So if you don't do that, we'll continue to be backward and stagnant. Huh? They can get, this is what I'm saying. This is what I said in the beginning of the presentation, that you should work together in collaboration with National Assembly members. Even if they see you as rivals, that should not stop you from approaching and talking to them and working with them. Even if they see you as rivals, even if they see you as potential candidates to be National Assembly members in the future, that should not stop you from engaging them. It's national development, it's collaborative, it's concerted effort. Yes, it's concerted effort. Okay, I'll give you a chance to talk later. Let's complete this and so that we start strategic planning. Yeah? Let's move. I will give you a chance to talk in the subsequent deliberations. Okay, 1 minute. 1 minute.
It is related to the current chairman of the local government committee, select committee of the National Assembly. He was a councillor, Suleiman Jami. He knows the issues that need to be changed in the Local Government Act. I have engaged him myself several times when we met in occasions. But what did they do? They know what is in the act that needs to be changed. They went to amend for the nominated councillors to have a voting rights. For what? They know that there are issues more relevant that need to be changed. Why do they go for the nominated councillors to be having voting right in council proceedings? So this is my question. Why? And they are giving constituency allowances every year, 300,000 or $500,000. They have never come and engage their ward councillors. We are in the grounds every day working with the locals. They will be coming to us asking for fees money, asking for cash for, asking for school fees, whereby they will never see the local National Assembly members. They are in their dark tinted vehicles, hiding away from people.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Ba. So we're going to start the other presentation. I'll give you these as lecture materials. You can read. I'll give you a chance to talk.
I think we will get your email and share this material.
Yes.
And some of the issues that you are currently discussing will be, captured in subsequent models that we'll be doing.
Yes.
And most of these are limited in terms of resource constraint. So we will discuss, and perhaps maybe by the end of the training, we could have, sort of a proposal, during a proposal training, have whatever project in mind, and then we start working on it. And even after the training, Ceprass can always work with council in that direction, because we have experts in project management, in proposal planning, M&E, and so on. And most importantly, also expenditure tracking issues are all going to be looked at. So it's going to be a very interesting and very interactive thing. And we hope you all give your 100% attention. And together, we can make a difference. And by the end of the training, perhaps we can come up some kind of resolution, whatever, going forward. And then we can share with relevant authorities to see what kind of impact it can have. That is the ultimate aim. Because at the end of the day, this project, it aims to improve services. That is the ultimate aim of this. So we hope we're able to work together on that to realize it.
All right, let's start the next model, that is strategic planning and decision making in local councils. I talked about it briefly in my lecture about the need for embedding or incorporating strategic planning in your directorates of planning and development, because strategic planning is at the forefront of development. An institution wants to move forward, you need a sense of direction. And without a sense of direction, it's difficult to achieve organizational objectives. So I'll be discussing in detail. I'll not be talking about every slide and every sentence, but just the salient issues I will be talking on, and the emerging issues that you will raise or concerns you will raise regarding strategic planning in local councils. Before we go proper into strategic planning, we first look at the concept of planning, which is, of course, define the organization objectives and goals, establishing overall strategy for achieving these goals and development, a comprehensive hierarchy of plans to integrate and coordinate activities. You cannot talk about organizational development without talking about a strategic plan. And how many of the local government councils have up-to-date strategic plans that would be tailored to development needs of the communities they represent, and to monitor their activities and track records of performance in line with these strategic plans. So, planning generally is a deliberate, organized attempt to change the future by taking actions in the present, and then provides direction. Like I said, the essence is to provide direction or sense of direction and focus, and ensuring that the organization's planned activities are achieved at the end. So it is oriented towards organizational goals. That's what planning is all about. Then this is pictorial representation of importance of planning. You have the plans there, and then planning itself, then organizing, staffing, communicating, motivating and leading and controlling. These are all managerial functions, and all of these need to be activities within your council's activities. Planning or plans are internal, but when it comes to communicating, it's both internal and external. For instance, how do you communicate your development plans to your development partners as well as your beneficiaries, for instance? So you need to organize yourselves as councils. How about staffing? The last time when we visited the Ministry of Local Government, they emphasized a number of issues. I need not buttress all those issues here, but again deals with issues regarding staffing, issues regarding monitoring, as well as controlling. So we don't need to waste much time on that. So we come back to strategic planning. It's a component of planning itself. Again, strategic planning is the direction and scope of an organization over the long term, which achieves advantage in a changing environment through its configuration of resources and competences with the aim of fulfilling stakeholder expectations. Your stakeholders are your government partners, non-governmental organization partners, or non-state actors, as well as your beneficiaries, who are the community members. These are your important stakeholders. And when you are doing any strategic thinking or planning for your local councils, you need to consult them and not just come out with issues like that, or issues that your beneficiaries don't need. Hear from them. What are their development needs? Then incorporate those development needs in your strategic plans so you can achieve the purpose. But formulating policies or formulating plans without consulting your beneficiaries, without consulting your community members, is like you are imposing those development needs on them. May not even be the real things they need in their communities. But when it is community driven, based on the needs that they themselves have identified, and then incorporating those in your plans, then the purpose would not be defeated. The purpose of your planning would not be defeated. Because the purpose of the plan is development focus. Alright? So, the essence of strategy is to position yourself to achieve organizational objectives, especially in the long run. That's why we call it planning. Right? So we'll not waste much time on the definition of planning. We'll have the opportunity to read. Right? So a strategic plan overall is the use of an organization's resources. We understand you are constrained by resource issues, and these councillors or ward councillors continue to emphasize in every meeting that we have with them that you are limited in scope as far as finances are concerned. Certain sources of revenues are taken from you and given to GRA, and some given to tourism authority. All these are constraints that you continue to face. We understand them, and we have captured these in our reports, in our research reports. So let's look at strategic planning. I want to engage you physically on this, practically on this. Let me ask you, just take a pen and a paper, just practical exercise. Just list down the people who participate in the formulation of strategic plans in local councils. Take a paper, just practically list down. Those who are together, you list them down for me. Yeah? Yes. Those who participate in the development of the strategic plan or strategic plan formulation process. In an organization? Yes. In your local government councils. Yes. People who are responsible for strategic planning, strategic thinking. I mean officials at all levels. Just list them, only list them. Take a pen and paper. Those who are together. Those who are together, I just give you how many minutes you want? Okay, 10 minutes. Maximum 10 minutes. Yes, the two of you. Yes, just list people. Yes, just list people or officials who should participate in the formulation of strategic plan or strategic plan formulation in local councils. People who should really be involved in its formulation process. Yes, you can work together. Yeah, the two of you work together. The two of you also, you work together. Just list them down. You can list up to any number 5, 6, 7, 10. You list them. Yes. Just work together. Two of you, just work together. Okay, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Yes. Yes, just discuss. Discuss, you list them. Huh? Yes. Yes, just list. So if you are done, each team will present what they have. Just where you are, you don't need to come here. So during the course of presentation, we will reach where actually you will see your answers, where they fit in. Yes. So are you done? You are done, huh? So you can take this to each group to present. Just list, just name them. Yes. Are we done? Quickly? Yes. Okay. Which group is done? Your group is done? Okay, so you just present to us where you are.
Our key stakeholders.
Yes.
When it comes to strategic planning.
Okay.
We have the VDC.
Okay.
We have the World Development Summit. When I said the VDC is the Village Development Committees. And then we have the World Development Committees. We have staffs and councillors. We have what is called regional departmental heads or representatives, including governor's office. And then you have the key stakeholders. We talk about the NGO affairs, we talk about the civil society, and the other private platforms, like the farmers platform. We also have key government line ministries representatives, notably local government and Ministry of Finance. Thank you.
Wonderful. Congrats, Madam Bojan. Yes.
Right? Can I come up?
So this will be additional to whatever I will present here. Actually, it's not exhaustive. Yes.
Right.
What's your name?
I am Honorable Tijan Manga, Councillor for Kanilai Ward.
Okay.
At the BAC, Brikama Area Council.
Yeah. Yes.
And for us, we have, as alluded by Madam Boja, number one, we have the VDC, that is the Village Development Committee. We have the WDC, World Development Committees. We have the CDAs, Community Development Assistants and Extension Workers within a given community. And then you have the extension workers at large.
Extension workers.
Right? Then you have the councillors.
Right.
And then you come to Community Development Unit. And then you come to Planning Department and then the Finance Department in terms of budgeting and financial advices. Right, and costing.
Thank you, Honorable Manga. Honorable Manga. Next team that is ready.
Yes. We also have the...
What's your name?
My name is 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏𝒏𝒆𝒍. 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏𝒏𝒆𝒍,
Jane, okay. Yes, Madam Jane.
We also have the management.
Okay.
We have the under the Department of Planning.
Right.
We also have the WDC members, councillors. We also have board members, community services workers, and we also have the Minister of Local Government.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Next team that is ready.
Yeah. For us, we have the admins management,
right,
councillors and WDCs, and then we have youths and religious leaders. We have the NAMs, community development, other agencies like the National Environment Agencies, National Road Authorities, Education, Regional Education Department. You have the NAWEC and other stakeholders relevant for the development of the councils.
Okay. All right. Who else? Which other team is ready? Yes.
Yes. My name is we have mayor and chairpersons. We have CEOs, director of planning. We have ward councillors. We have WDCs. We have heads of departments and units.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Honorable. Yes.
My name is Adam Akpai.
Yes.
Yes, first we have the senior management team.
Senior management.
We have the middle management.
Middle management.
We have the staff of council. We have mayors and chairmen, or chairmen rather. We have ward councillors.
Right.
We also have ward development committees. We have youth and women group. We have community development. We have the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Regional Government.
Okay. Yes, which team? Mr. Director? Your team, will you present? Okay.
Local government authorities, admin management, national authorities, elderly and experienced persons, head of youths. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Which team did not present? Director, did you present? Yes. Okay. All right. Are you all done? Yes. Very good. I will give you this lecture notes later. I'll just deliberate on the formulation of strategy or strategic planning in local government organizations or councils. When we talk about strategic planning, it's a high-level strategic thinking for the organization. Strategic planning is a high-level strategic thinking for the organization. So it starts with the top. That is, with the Lord Mayor or the Lady Mayoress of the City Council or the Lord Mayor of a Municipal Council, the chairperson or the chairman, the chairwoman of the area council. He or she is supposed to be a strategic thinker. Nonetheless, he can't or she can't do it alone. It must be a stakeholder approach to development of a strategic plan. But he takes the lead because he is the top official or CEO of that institution. Of course, stakeholders are involved, but high-level senior staff, it starts with them. That's why you call it top strategic thinking for the organization. And it's not just every other staff involved like that without expertise. The people at the village level must be involved. Why? Because they will tell you their needs. So you have about 5 phases of strategic planning. The first phase is the development of a vision and mission of the institution, the core values that you have for your community, for your region, under your purview as a local council, or a city council, or a municipal council. So from there, you go to formulation of those plans and strategies. From there, you go to implementation of those plans you have strategized, you have thought of, you have crafted. And then, finally, it boils down to what? Monitoring and evaluation of your planned and executed activities. These are the 5 major phases of strategic planning in any organization, be it even local councils or be it any other organization. And at your level, the list is not exhaustive. Who is involved in strategy making? That is strategic planning. So you start with this. Are you seeing? Is it visible to all of you? Visible to you? Yes. Your Lord Mayors, your Lady Mayoress, and your chairpersons, chairmen. Is there any chairwoman in local councils in the country? No. So we have mayors and Lord Mayor and chairperson, chairman. So it starts with them. They are the ones who are the strategic thinkers. The rest of the staff are in operations. But strategic thinking, the top are supposed to do that for the organization. Who are they? This list is not exhaustive, but then these are the main stakeholders as far as strategic planning in your local councils are concerned. It cannot be done in isolation. You cannot just organize yourselves at one corner of your institution and say you are doing strategic planning or strategy formulation. No, it doesn't work like that. Because a lot more things and issues need to be embedded in this process, incorporated in this process. The first part, say, the mayors, chairpersons, and chief executive officers. So every local council has CEO, right? Yes. They are the right hands or the henchmen and women of the chairpersons and the mayors or mayors of the councils. So he or she has unlimited responsibility for leading the strategy making process, but must have foresight, must have vision that makes them leaders. Yes, must strategically think how to advance the institution. Don't say government, central government does not do this, has not done this, has not done that. Yes, that's right. But from your own initiatives, what can you do to advance the cause of the council? Do you expect the central government officials, the minister of the local government, and their directors or line departments to come to you and say you need to do X, Y, Z as a leader? Do you need to do that? No. The mayors, the mayors, and the chairpersons need to take it upon themselves and strategically think about the advancement of their institutions. Functions as strategic visionary and chief architect of strategy. That's the essence. Then from there, apart from the CEO and the mayors or the chairpersons, the chairman and chairmen, who else? Senior managers or officers, directors, typically have influential roles in fashioning, that is, in formulating or designing those strategy components involving their areas of responsibility. If there is to be any component on finance, for instance, the director of finance and his managers and his finance officers will capture that part and incorporate it. If there are issues captured by ward councillors in their various wards, they need to capture it, incorporate it in your strategic plan. Because they represent the VDCs. Some of you, most of you talked about the representation of VDCs in strategic planning. Yes, it is important. But the initiative comes from the top because they are the strategic thinkers for the local councils. Then, managers of divisions, if you have their representatives geographically in the regions, and then important operating units of the key employees with specialized expertise. That's why you have your various units. Apart from the Directorate of Finance, the Directorate of Human Resources, the Directorate of Planning and Development, which other units do you have as councils? You have procurement unit. You have service unit. Waste collection. How do you call it? Health and sanitation. Department or unit? Unit, okay. Okay, KMC, you have services unit, or directorate. You call it unit or directorate? Directorate. The police department, that is the security unit, okay? That is the municipal security or the council security. So you have internal audit, very important. Yeah? Compliance, administration. All these are different units, different directorates, different departments all together, and their inputs in your strategic plan are crucial to the success of the plan. You see, when you take a stakeholder approach to formulating your strategic plan, you are most likely to succeed. Why? Because the stakeholders will own the plan. They will take ownership of the plan. Without taking ownership of the plan, you are likely to fail. And this is why autocratic governance system doesn't do well as a leader involve your employees from very scratch of formulating your plans. Because these are the people who are going to assist you to implement it. Yes, thinking big and strategically for your organization is good, but the people who should help you to realize those plans are the most important thing you can ever include in your strategic planning process. Right? Yes. So you have some pieces of the strategy which are best orchestrated by the on-the-scene local council's personnel with detailed familiarity of the piece of the program or service they are in charge of running. So each and every one of you here in various directorates, departments, units, you are au fait with what you do. You know exactly the constraints and the challenges faced, and you will be in better position to report on those issues and include them in your strategic plan so that your organization can address them. Right? Isn't it? Good. So, these are, but not limited to, very important stakeholders who could participate in strategic planning. A local council strategy is a collection of initiatives. I was talking about the ability of a leader to encourage initiation, encourage initiatives, encourage innovativeness, encourage inventiveness on the part of his or her employees, and not to see his or her employees as threats to him. And some of you mentioned here, for instance, when I talked about the need for local councillors or ward councillors to engage the National Assembly members. You talked about the rivalry, you talked about the threat of ward councillors contesting the National Assembly elections and becoming a potential National Assembly member. As a result, they don't want to engage you. No. Right? So pieces of strategy should fit together like the piece of a puzzle. Key approaches used to unify all strategic initiatives into a collective organization-wide action plan. So when you draw your plan, you have action plan. And the action plan will indicate who is responsible for which activity, which task, which assignment, how much resources are going to every activity. Who is the accounting officer for that activity, for instance. And the Directorate of Finance will be there to monitor the budget line for each activity, right? Director of Finance. Who are the Directors of Finance here? Yes. You know, I'm sure you'll be strictly monitoring the budget line for each council's activity to ensure that they are in line with what is budgeted for.
This will be the annual budget will be aligned with something.
Yes.
But sometimes when they are drafting the annual budget,
yes,
you forget about the strategic plan.
You forget about the strategic plan.
Sometimes the activities are not coordinated.
No, actually.
Sometimes the strategic plans over ambitious.
Over ambitious. This is a problem in the African continent.
That's big.
Yes.
That's beyond your means and
yes.
And then implementation because of the end of the term period while in assets.
Yes.
This will be difficult to achieve.
Yes, this is the problem with most African countries. When we are drawing our plans, even country plans, we are over ambitious. And you know, a plan without the requisite resources becomes an elephant project that is unachievable. And this is the problem. Let's draw modest plans that we have the requisite resources to implement. But when we have elephant projects, but we don't have the requisite resources, it becomes just an empty paper like that. It's the problem, right? So, another important issue is effectively communicate local council's vision, objectives, and major strategies to all personnel. So when you have a plan, every member of staff should be au fait with what the plan is all about, because that will be the yardstick to measure council's activities and track its performance records. Strategic plan. And that's why every member of staff should master the strategic plan and work towards achieving the objectives therein. So a strategic plan entails a program of action, and it addresses strategic issues, essential questions or challenges or constraints, and is driven by the organization's vision, mission, purpose, and values. So you have all of these. The strategic plan entails an organization's strategic vision, mission, and values, its strategic and financial objectives, and its strategy, which could be a marketing strategy, a research strategy, a development strategy, etc. I'm sure you all have your values, and these must be captured in your conditions of service. I guess you all have conditions of service, right? Do you have? Which council doesn't have a service condition? Or service manual? Yes. It can be service rules. Different organizations call it differently. Some will call it service rules, some will call it conditions of service, some will call it service manual, or some will call it operating manual. In addition, you have your financial manuals. Do you have financial manual as well? Okay. You have service rules. Which council doesn't have service rules here? Great. It's wonderful. That's the best practice. Right? So implementation of strategy, which is phase 4, is tough. Why? And it's usually a problem, especially in the Gambia. Yes, Madam Boja? One.
Some of our plans are over-ambitious.
Yes. The mic.
Yes. Like he rightly said, some of our strategic plans are over-ambitious.
Over-ambitious.
When you look at the resource available, plans versus availability of resources. The other one is, you did talk about leaders. Different types of leaders. People who can influence an organization and even followers. But most leaders, when they come, there is always discontinuity of those plans that they have found there. Some will not bother to go through, because what I said earlier on is all about capacity. It's about differences, bridging our differences, both grudges, both politically, administratively, because plans need to be continued, but we have continuity. Because if you come as a leader and you find that this strategic plan is laid for an institution, as far as you are not part of that plan is no longer honored. Be it a CEO, be it a mayor, be it a chairperson, be it a councillor, be it a staff. These are some of the issues, Gambians, that we should graduate from. Because plans are plans. The best practice is to review. We have what is called midterm review. When we review along the line, these are some of the areas that we need to adjust as we go. But as far as you are not part of that formation of that plan, you don't honor that plan. The other thing is, I'm talking about my council. We don't have M&E personnel or systems in place. These are very important to track progress of those plans, be it implementation, other systems within the institutions. Because these are very important things, ingredients, in terms of implementation of a plan. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Boja, for those wonderful contributions. She has highlighted very important issues that are normally experienced in the operationalization and implementation of strategic plans. And these are real issues that we need to be careful whenever we are formulating strategies. The last phase of strategic planning is evaluating performance and making corrective adjustments. And that is, crafting and implementing a strategy is not a one-time exercise. It's a continuous process. That's why a strategic plan should have a timeline, a time frame. mostly many organizations draw or formulate a 5-year strategic plan, some a 4-year strategic plan, depending on the organization. But what is common is between 4 and 5. 3 is uncommon, because usually it deals with long-term planning. And within a period of 5 years, a myriad of changes within the environment could occur. And that's why you need to give it a 5-year plan. For a country, some country plans take as long as 10 years, a 10-year plan, country strategic plan. Right? Within that 10 years, we expect a lot of changes to occur. Midway, you can do midterm evaluation and see whether you could make some adjustments to the plan. And at the end of the 10-year, for instance, you can review the plan or come up with a new plan. For instance, the NDP, that is a country plan, country strategic plan, the NDP 2018 to 2023, has elapsed, or 2022. Is it 2018 to 2021? The first NDP. Yes, 2018. Now there is adjustment 2023 to 2027, right? Yes. So you see, country strategic plans are adjusted, they are reviewed, as well as organizational plans. They are reviewed, they are adjusted to fit within the changes within the environment. Because there are certain situations that are not within our control. And anytime you are formulating a plan, you must be conscious of those environmental changes, market changes, global changes. And within 2, 3, 4 years, you need to review your plan and capture some of those important changes within the global environment, as well as national environmental factors. Right? So, taking actions to adjust to the match of events tends to result in one or more of the following: altering long-term direction, that's changing the direction altogether in the plan, and or redefining the mission or vision, raising or lowering or changing performance objectives. If you realize midway or halfway that you are too over-ambitious, then you can lower or change your performance objectives. If you realize that you can't achieve them, the resources are not there. Or modifying the strategy itself altogether and improving strategy execution or strategy implementation. So this is a pictorial presentation of a comprehensive strategic plan. You have the laws and regulations. You have the mission statement, which all capture issues. Then we have the vision leading to the goals, and then the goals, those are overall issues you want to achieve, and then the specific objectives, which each boils down to a particular strategy. Is it a strategy for your human resource directorate? Is it a strategy for developing a particular community? Is it a strategy for developing a particular village? Is it a strategy to construct the roads in those communities or regions under your purview? So the objectives will be specified in your plans. And then, like I said, you will have action plans. Who is responsible for which task, which activity, evaluation and learning, right? Then annual operational plan and budget. The finance man is seated there. If you want to come up with something and say, no, this is not budgeted, this is not in the budget line. Oh, you are now exhausting your budget line. You know, the finance specialists, they are stingy with money. We want the executive director himself is specialist in finance. You know, when we start talking about money, he's bending his head over there. Madam Boja. So, budget and finances are always issues. And normally this sector will come in terms of technical advice, how to resource the funds, whether from development partners or from the central government. Your 25% subvention from central government. And what else? Director, where do you, from your rates? Rates and taxes. Rates and taxes. But do you even need the 25% subvention from the central government? You are reaching our KMC. Maintenance. It's too high. Madam Boya, do you need that money?
You need it more than any other country.
You need it more than any other country. I have slide 32 of 41. You can quickly run this down.
End this for me so that I can pick it again. It's getting longer.
Okay, all right. Yes.
You talk about the
we have visited Kuntaul, but they really need financial support. Even Caravan, we visited there, they need help.
What I'm saying,
yes.
What I'm saying
yes.
is the national key.
The national
budget. The budget, national budget is for the electorate, is for the citizen.
Right.
You see, we are directly working for the locals.
Yes.
If you give this budget to ministries and departments, I mean, before it reaches to the locals, it might be filtered in allowances and traveling and furnitures and training. But for us, we are directly dealing with the locals and their requests are coming directly to the council. So the main budget itself, that's where the councils should have, you know, development aspect of their councils. You know, cleaning the municipalities is expensive.
It's expensive.
Very expensive. Fuel is going up. Inflation is going up. You see, and the small amount that the people paying tax is difficult. Enforcement can have no power to enforce tax like DRA. DRA, the way they can enforce, the council cannot do that. We manipulate and manage the people.
But with all that, KMC, you are able to maneuver around and then achieve a success story. Huh?
And then the number of staffs we have.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. The 25%.
Right.
It will not be the issue. The issue is the main budget.
The main budget.
Like the council has a percentage in all the tax DRA is collecting.
Right.
And they're accountable.
Yes. So you involve your stakeholders. As you can see, the various stakeholders you have talked about, they all need to be consulted when you are drafting or formulating your strategic plans. Because those are your very important partners in development. You need them. So, internal partners, employees, external partners, agencies, you know, lenders, financial partners, contractors, consultants, beneficiaries. And the beneficiaries include VDCs, right? The villages, the communities, etc. All of these are very important partners. When you are planning also, you do a SWOT analysis. That is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats need to be there. The strategic decisions for each strength need to be made and how it should be made, right? So all of these important issues to be captured in strategic planning. And then the operational framework for strategic planning issues analysis, analyze the issues you face, then nations on communication and team building. Thank you.
Two more.
Yes, 2 more. After lunch. Yes, after lunch we'll go. If you are tired, then I'll give the rest to you as assignments.